When my son Ethan came through the front door that evening, I knew something was wrong. He wasn't his usual self. His broad shoulders slumped forward, his eyes red as though he hadn't slept, and in his hands, he carried nothing but his car keys, clenched so tightly his knuckles were pale. "Mom," he muttered softly, as if saying my name required all the energy left inside him. The moment I saw his face, my heart sank. I didn't need him to explain, I knew. Mothers always know. Ethan had been dating Emily for nearly 3 years. She was his college sweetheart, the girl he had once shyly introduced to me at Thanksgiving, his cheeks flushed with both pride and nervousness. I had watched their relationship bloom, from the awkward early stages to the comfort of routines and shared dreams. He had spoken of her often, about their plans to travel after graduation, about the apartment they wanted to rent together, about the life they were beginning to imagine side by side. But all of that was gone now. "She left me," he whispered, collapsing onto the couch. His voice cracked, raw and broken in a way I hadn't heard since he was a little boy. I sat beside him, my hands trembling slightly as I reached for his. For a long moment, he just stared at the floor, silent tears streaming down his face. It was the kind of pain no bandage or medicine could fix. Heartbreak. The first real heartbreak is always the hardest. Sometimes words are useless. In that moment, I knew silence was the best comfort I could give him. I wrapped my arm around his shoulder, pulling him close like I had when he was small, after nightmares woke him in the middle of the night. He leaned against me, his head resting on my shoulder, and for the first time in years, I felt the weight of him as if he were still that little boy I used to rock to sleep. We stayed like that for what felt like hours. The only sounds were the ticking of the old clock on the wall and the occasional sniffle as he tried to hold back sobs. Finally, he whispered, "I thought she was the one, Mom. I gave her everything. Why wasn't it enough?" Those words pierced through me. They were the same words I had once thought years ago, when my own heart had been shattered. I took a deep breath. "Ethan, do you remember when you were in middle school and I couldn't stop crying for days?" He shifted, looking up at me with curiosity. "I remember. I asked you what was wrong, but you said I was too young to understand." I nodded. "That was when your father and I almost separated. We were going through things I didn't know how to handle. I thought I wasn't enough, that maybe love wasn't real, or that I had failed somehow. But do you know what I learned?" "What?" he asked, his voice fragile. "That sometimes the people we love can't stay in our lives, not because we're not enough, but because they're not meant to stay." He swallowed hard, his eyes glistening. "Emily was part of your story," I continued, "but not the whole story. Love doesn't always mean forever, Ethan. Sometimes it means a lesson. Sometimes it means growth. And sometimes it means making space for the right person who is still out there, waiting for you." The days after his breakup were heavy. Ethan stayed home more, his usual lively energy dimmed. I gave him space when he needed it, but I also made sure he never felt alone. I cooked his favorite meals, even when he barely touched them. I left little notes on his desk, reminders that he was strong, that he was loved, that heartbreak would not define him. One Saturday, I convinced him to go hiking with me. He resisted at first, but eventually he gave in. We walked for miles in the fresh mountain air, and little by little, I saw the old Ethan emerge. He laughed when I slipped on a rock. He rolled his eyes when I tried to race him up the hill. And at the top, as we stood looking over the valley, he whispered, "I think I'll be okay, Mom." And I believed him. Months passed, and Ethan slowly rebuilt himself. He poured energy into his career, into friendships, into the passions he had once set aside for his relationship. He started painting again, something he hadn't done since high school. His room filled with canvases, each one more vibrant than the last. One evening, I found him at his easel, a smile tugging at the corner of his lips. "You know what, Mom," he said. "Losing Emily hurt, but maybe it gave me back a part of myself I forgot." Tears welled in my eyes. Not out of sadness this time, but pride. Now, looking back, I realized that night, the night he came home broken and lost, wasn't just about his heartbreak. It was about our bond. Because being a mother isn't about fixing every problem. It's about being the safe place where your child can fall apart and rebuild. Ethan may have lost a love, but he discovered something stronger: resilience, hope, and the reminder that no matter how life breaks you, you are never truly alone. And for me, I was reminded of something too, that sometimes the greatest love stories aren't romantic ones. They're the ones written in the quiet moments between a mother and her son.